What if the most productive, most peaceful, most purposeful version of yourself is not found by doing more, but by doing less? What if the anxiety, the distraction, the constant feeling that something is missing, that quiet, persistent sense that your life is not quite what it should be, is not a sign that you need to work harder, achieve more, or acquire more, but a sign that you have been thinking in ways that were never yours to begin with? What if the ancient wisdom developed by monks over thousands of years, wisdom about the mind, the ego, the purpose, and the art of living with intention, could be translated directly into the language of modern life? And what if the person best positioned to make that translation was someone who left one of the world's most prestigious universities to live as a monk, and then left the monastery to bring that wisdom to the world? Welcome to Book Essence, where we unlock the essence of every book so you get the wisdom without spending weeks reading. Today we are breaking down Think Like a Monk by Shetty, a book that does not just teach you how to calm your mind, it teaches you how to rebuild it from the ground up in a way that actually serves you. Let us unlock it. Section 1. Identity. Let go of what is not yours. Shetty opens with a question that most people have never seriously examined. Who told you who you are? From the moment we are born, before we are old enough to think critically, before we have any framework for evaluation, we begin absorbing beliefs from our parents, from our culture, from our schools, our friends, our media, our religion. We absorb beliefs about what success looks like, about what a good life means, about what we should want, what we should fear, what we should be. And the vast majority of us carry these absorbed beliefs into adulthood and build our entire lives around them without ever stopping to ask a single critical question. Is this actually mine, or is this something I was handed before I was old enough to choose? Shetty calls these borrowed identities, and he argues that most of the suffering, most of the anxiety, the constant feeling that something is missing, that quiet, persistent sense that your life is not quite what it should be, is not a sign that you need to work harder, achieve more, or acquire more, but a sign that you have been thinking in ways that were never yours to begin with. The first step in thinking like a monk is not learning something new. It is unlearning something old. It is the deliberate, honest process of examining every belief you hold, every value, every goal, every fear, and asking with genuine curiosity, where did this come from? Does it actually serve me? Is it true, or is it simply familiar? This process is uncomfortable because some of the beliefs we hold most honestly turn out to be the foundations of choices we have already made, careers we have already committed to, relationships we have already built, identities we have already constructed. But Shetty argues the discomfort of examination is always less costly than the lifetime of quiet suffering that comes from never examining at all. Section 2. The Ego, Your Oldest Enemy. One of the most important concepts Shetty brings from the monastery into the language of modern life is the nature and function of the ego. The ego, in the monk's understanding, is not your confidence or your self-esteem. It is the part of your mind that is constantly performing, constantly comparing, constantly measuring your worth against the worth of others, constantly seeking validation, approval, and recognition, and experiencing anxiety whenever that validation is withheld. The ego is never satisfied, because satisfaction would mean it has nothing left to defend, and the ego is fundamentally a defense mechanism. Shetty describes how monks are trained to observe the ego rather than obey it, to notice the moment when the mind begins comparing, when it says, I am better than, or I am worse than, or I need them to see me as, and to recognize that voice not as truth, but as the ego doing what the ego always does. The practical application of this is profound. When someone criticizes you, the ego reacts with defensiveness or hurt. The monk asks, "Is there truth in this?" When someone succeeds around you, the ego reacts with comparison or envy. The monk asks, "What can I learn from this?" When you receive praise, the ego swells and wants more. The monk asks, "Did I actually earn this?" The monk's relationship with the ego is not about eliminating it. It's about no longer being controlled by it, about creating enough distance between the ego's voice and your actions that you can choose your response rather than simply react. Section 3. The Mind, Taming the Monkey. Monks have a name for the untrained human mind, and it is exactly as undignified as the reality deserves. They call it the monkey mind. A mind that swings from thought to thought, from worry to fantasy, from memory to fear, never settling, never still, never actually present in the moment that is actually happening. Most people live inside the monkey mind their entire lives without ever realizing that the chaos they experience internally is not an inevitable feature of consciousness. It is the result of an untrained mind. And training is available. Shetty introduces the monk's primary tool for training the mind, meditation, not as a spiritual luxury or a lifestyle accessory, but as the most practical, most evidence-supported method available for developing genuine control over your own attention. He is specific about what meditation actually does. It does not empty the mind. It does not stop thoughts from arising. It trains your relationship with your thoughts. Specifically, it builds your capacity to observe a thought without the anxious thought immediately becoming your reality. To notice, "I am having this anxious thought," without the anxious thought immediately controlling your behavior. This gap between the arising of a thought and the automatic response to it is the same gap that Naval Ravikant, Robert Greene, and almost every serious thinker about the human mind identifies as the seat of genuine freedom. Shetty describes it simply: "You are not your thoughts, you are the one who observes them." And the moment you genuinely understand that, not intellectually but experientially, everything changes. Section 4. Purpose, Dharma. Of all the concepts Shetty brings from the ancient wisdom of the monastery, none is more central, more practically important, and more poorly understood in the modern world than the concept of Dharma. Dharma is a Sanskrit word, and like most Sanskrit words, it resists simple translation. But Shetty's working definition is clear and practical. Dharma is the intersection of your natural gifts, your genuine passions, and the service you can provide to the people around you. It is not your job title. It is not your income. It is not the role someone else decided you were good for. It is the unique contribution that only you, with your specific combination of experience, ability, and perspective, can make to the world. Shetty argues that the epidemic of purposelessness in modern life, the widespread, low-grade feeling that what you are doing doesn't really matter, comes directly from the gap between what people are doing and what their dharma actually is. People choose careers for money, for status, for parental approval, for safety, for the path of least resistance, and they arrive years later with a comfortable life and a persistent, nameless feeling that something is wrong, that they are in the right place but somehow in the wrong life. Shetty's path back to Dharma begins with the same question he asks about identity. What would you do if no one were watching? What would you pursue if approval and money were removed from the equation entirely? The answer to that question, uncomfortable as it often is, points directly towards your Dharma. Section 5. Relationships. Who is in your circle? One of the most practically applicable sections of Think Like a Monk concerns the people around you and how profoundly they shape who you become. Shetty uses a vivid image from the monk's tradition to explain the nature of social influence. He describes people as radiators or drains. Radiators are people who add energy to the space they enter. They bring warmth, clarity, honesty, and encouragement. Time with them leaves you more capable, more inspired, more like the person you want to be. Drains are people who remove energy from every space they enter. They bring complaint, comparison, negativity, and smallness. Time with them leaves you more anxious, more doubtful, more like the person you are trying not to be. Shetty is careful here. He is not advocating for the ruthless elimination of everyone who is struggling. He is making a more nuanced point. You cannot pour from an empty vessel, and if you spend the majority of your time in environments that drain your energy, your clarity, and your sense of purpose, you will have nothing left to give to the people and work that actually matter. He also introduces the monk's understanding of intention in relationships, the idea that the quality of a relationship is determined not by how it feels in the moment, but by the intentions both people bring to it. Relationships built on genuine care, honest communication, and mutual growth are fundamentally different and fundamentally more sustaining than relationships built on convenience, habit, or the fear of being alone. The final and deepest principle that Shetty brings from the monastery is the one that most directly contradicts the dominant narrative of modern life. Modern culture tells you that the path to happiness runs through self-improvement, self-actualization, self-fulfillment, that the goal is to become the best version of yourself, to optimize your productivity, your health, your performance, your personal brand. Monks, Shetty argues, discovered something different. The deepest and most durable source of human meaning and happiness is not self-focused, it is other-focused. It is service. Not service as obligation, not service as performance of virtue, not service because you will be rewarded for it, but service as the natural overflow of a life lived in alignment with your Dharma, the natural result of being so fully in your purpose, your gifts, your genuine contribution, that giving becomes effortless because it is simply what you do. Shetty describes the monk's life as organized entirely around this principle. Every practice, meditation, study, self-examination, is not an end in itself. It is preparation for service. It is the work of becoming someone whose presence genuinely helps the people they encounter. And he argues that this orientation, this fundamental shift from self-focus to other-focus, is available to anyone, in any life, at any moment. It does not require a monastery. It does not require a spiritual tradition. It requires only the decision to ask, in any situation, not what can I get from this, but what can I give? Let us bring together the greatest lessons from Think Like a Monk. 1. Let go of what is not yours. Most of the beliefs, values, and fears you carry through life were absorbed before you were old enough to choose. Examine them honestly. Keep what serves you, release what does not. 2. Observe the ego, do not obey it. The part of your mind that compares, performs, and seeks validation is not you. It is a defense mechanism. Learn to watch it without letting it make your decisions. 3. Train the monkey mind. You are not your thoughts. You are the one who observes them. Meditation is not a luxury. It is the practice of building the most important skill available, the ability to choose your response rather than simply react. 4. Find your Dharma. The intersection of your gifts, your passion, and your service is where your deepest purpose lives. No amount of success in the wrong direction will produce the feeling of alignment you are seeking. 5. Curate your circle. The people around you shape who you become, more powerfully than almost any other force. Spend the majority of your time with people who make you more of who you want to be. 6. Make service your foundation. The deepest and most durable happiness is not self-focused. It is the natural result of giving your genuine gifts to the people around you, fully, freely, and without keeping score. Jay Shetty closes this book with a reminder that carries the weight of everything he learned in the monastery. The monk's goal is not escape from the world. It is to return to the world, more present, more purposeful, more genuinely useful than before. You do not need to become a monk, you need to think like one, to bring the monk's clarity, the monk's intentionality, and the monk's commitment to what matters into the life you are already living. That is the essence of Think Like a Monk, and that is what we do here at Book Essence. We take the world's most powerful books and unlock their wisdom, so you can think more clearly, live more intentionally, and give more fully. If this video brought you value, please like, subscribe, and share it with someone who is ready to trade noise for clarity. Every week on Book Essence, a new book, a new lesson, a new chance to grow. Until next time, keep reading, keep growing, and keep unlocking your essence. See you in the next one.